A fighter jet screams through Swedish airspace. Inside the cockpit sits a pilot, but they're not flying. The jet is controlled entirely by artificial intelligence, locked in a dogfight with a human pilot in another aircraft. This isn't science fiction. It happened last week. Swedish defense contractor Saab just made history. For the first time ever, an AI system took full control of a frontline military fighter jet in combat scenarios. The Gripen E fighter faced off against a human pilot flying a Gripen D in live combat simulations. The AI didn't just fly the plane. It tracked targets, executed complex maneuvers, and even told the human when to fire weapons. All of this happened autonomously, even when command links were completely cut off. Here's the mind-blowing part. The AI pilot that flew last week has the equivalent of 50 years of pilot experience, but it gained all that experience in just a few hours of training. Antoine Bordis from Helsing, the company behind the AI system, said their Centaur technology compressed decades of flight training into an afternoon. This changes everything we thought we knew about aerial combat. Marcus Want, Saab's chief innovation officer, put it bluntly. It's no longer guaranteed that human pilots will keep winning dogfights against AI-supported aircraft. There are still pilots out there who might have a chance, he said, but that will change fast. The Swedish tests are part of something called Project Beyond, fully funded by Sweden's military. But they're not alone in this race. Just last year, the U.S. Air Force sent Secretary Frank Kendall up in an AI-controlled F-16 at Edwards Air Force Base. The AI flew within 1,000 feet of another fighter at speeds over 550 miles per hour. Kendall came out of that flight saying something that should make everyone pay attention. He trusts AI enough to let it fire weapons. Think about that for a second. The man in charge of the entire U.S. Air Force is ready to trust a computer with life and death decisions in combat. The technology behind these AI pilots is staggering. Unlike remote-controlled drones, these systems make decisions entirely on their own. They analyze sensor data, identify threats, and react in nanoseconds. During tests by DARPA, an AI system defeated human pilots in 5 consecutive simulated dogfights. The human pilots needed several tenths of a second to react. The AI made decisions in nanoseconds. But here's where things get really wild. The U.S. Air Force plans to deploy over 1,000 unmanned AI-enabled warplanes by 2028. That's just 3 years away. These aren't going to be experimental aircraft hidden in secret bases. They'll be operational combat jets, potentially deciding who lives and dies without any human pulling the trigger. China's already working on their own AI fighter jets. Russia's developing similar systems. We're watching the beginning of an AI arms race that could fundamentally change warfare. And unlike nuclear weapons, which take massive infrastructure to build, AI technology can spread quickly. Once someone figures out the code, it can be copied, modified, and deployed anywhere. The advantages are obvious. AI pilots never get tired. They don't panic under pressure. They can pull G-forces that would knock out or kill a human pilot. They process information from dozens of sensors simultaneously and coordinate with other aircraft in ways human pilots simply can't match. In future conflict, swarms of AI-controlled jets could overwhelm enemy defenses, taking risks no human pilot would survive. Cost is another huge factor. Training a fighter pilot costs millions of dollars and takes years. The F-35, America's most advanced fighter, costs over $80 million per plane. But AI-controlled jets could be mass-produced without the life support systems, ejection seats, and other equipment needed to keep humans alive. Some military planners envision thousands of cheap, expendable AI drones swarming enemy positions. What do you think about AI making targeting decisions in warfare? The ethical concerns are keeping military lawyers and human rights groups up at night. The International Committee of the Red Cross warns that autonomous weapons demand an urgent international response. Some countries like Austria and Brazil want a total ban on AI weapons. Others, including the US, Russia, and Israel, are pushing full speed ahead with development. There's a fundamental question here that nobody's really answered yet. Who's responsible when an AI makes a mistake and kills civilians? The programmer who wrote the code? The commander who deployed the system? The company that built it? Current international law says humans must maintain control over decisions to use lethal force, but that principle is already being stretched thin. The U.S. military insists there will always be human oversight when weapons are used. But in reality, when decisions need to be made in milliseconds, human oversight becomes meaningless. By the time a human could evaluate an AI's decision, the moment would be gone. We're essentially trusting algorithms with the power to start wars. Palmer Luckey, founder of defense tech company Anduril, believes autonomous weapons are inevitable. His company is already building AI-powered fighter jets, submarine drones, and interceptor missiles. These systems are being used right now in Ukraine. Luckey argues that if America doesn't build these weapons, its enemies will. And unlike human soldiers, robots don't have families waiting for them to come home. Some military experts go even further. They argue that not using AI weapons is actually unethical. If autonomous systems can reduce civilian casualties through more precise targeting, if they can protect your own soldiers from harm, don't you have a moral obligation to use them? It's a compelling argument, especially when you're the one sending young people into combat. The technology is advancing faster than our ability to control it. Saab's tests in civilian airspace show these systems are moving from experimental programs to operational reality. The Gripen E's AI operated successfully even when communications were jammed, proving these weapons could function in the electronic warfare environment of modern combat. Australia is already investing millions in AI-powered ghost bat drones that can switch between reconnaissance and attack modes autonomously. The UK, Italy, and Japan are collaborating on sixth-generation fighters designed from the ground up for AI control. By the 2030s, human pilots might be the exception rather than the rule in advanced air forces. But there's a darker possibility nobody wants to talk about. What happens when these systems get hacked, when AI weapons turn against their creators? Unlike nuclear weapons, which require physical materials and massive facilities, AI weapons are essentially software. They can be corrupted, stolen, or turned into something their designers never intended. The Swedish test last week wasn't just a technological milestone. It was a glimpse into a future where machines fight our wars, where split-second decisions about life and death are made by algorithms, not people, where the speed of combat exceeds human comprehension. We're standing at a crossroads. The technology to create fully autonomous weapons exists today. Countries around the world are racing to deploy it. The question isn't whether AI will control weapons of war. That's already happening. The question is whether humanity will control the AI. The age of human fighter pilots is ending. What comes next might be more powerful and more dangerous than anything we've imagined. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.